Thank you for joining XR Home, India's first AR/VR focused podcast, and delight and honor to have with me Miroslav Kotalík, who has designed and built self-sustained pair of augmented reality glasses running web apps. He's calling the prototype RPI0. So the topic of the conversation today is going to be computing platform of the future. And I largely believe that, we are going to go into a world where we're going to move in from carrying technology to wearing technology, where your mobiles and laptop, they converge in a single head wearable devices. So I'm looking forward for this conversation, and we have a co-host today, Sanan Goyal. Sanan, welcome to the podcast. So Miroslav, would love to kind of jump in with your background first, your background, both your educational as well as professional background.
Oh, I'm glad to be here on this podcast. Actually, my education, I have no engineering or programming education. I've been doing graphics, so I'm a graphic designer by school, but right after school, I just started. Later when I finished school, I could join a startup. The startup I joined is called Too Realistic, and it's a company focusing on delivering a lifelike experience in both desktop, mobile, and in VR. And also the startup environment is kind of what grabbed really my attention. I really enjoy to build fast, and I hate working with large companies, because they move so slowly. There's so much management and.
Could you elaborate more on, your transition from designs to immersive and how that transition happened? And because I had a very similar experience. Mm-hmm. I myself was in animation and filmmaking, and frankly speaking, I got bored of the frame. And, I started exploring what one can build beyond the frame, and VR was one of the first things that popped up. So could you talk about a little bit about your journey transitioning from the world of design and the world of immersive?
Yeah, for me, it started a lot sooner. Even in basic school, I've been tinkering with my own stuff like Arduinos and stuff like that. So I've been building for a long time, but I actually in basic school I had bad grades. I was a bad student. So later on, when I really should be going into some engineering or maybe programming, I just went for graphic design because they took basically everyone. They didn't care about grades. So I've been doing graphic design, and I've been enjoying it, and I think it is in my blood. I've been drawing since I was young, and I really like the colors and composition and everything. But back in my head, I think I've always been kind of more of a engineering soul, and I think it merges in a nice way.
Absolutely. I think, and people don't give this enough importance, but there is a need for people who understand the both worlds, right? And that's how you're able to innovate, and that's how you're able to build new things with the creativity that comes from design and the skill set, the technical skill set that enables you to bring these ideas into fruition. No, that's absolutely great.
Completely. And Miroslav, you were mentioning that, you're part of toorealistic.com, and you were mentioning that, startup culture. I think we both have been part of startup, and maybe I've also I've been working for like a big company. And yes, I've seen the difference, because what we could have done in a startup, getting that done, the same thing getting done in a big company becomes really challenging, because there is so many hierarchy, protocols to follow and stuff like that. So yes, I think the world is completely changing. And I think, some of the finest companies right now, like the largest companies in the world, like OpenAI was a startup. It's acquired by Microsoft, and I think the largest or the most interesting innovations happens in a startup ecosystem, because, there's no hierarchy, and I think that's the coolest thing. So I also believe that, there would be, in the next possibly like the decade, I think there'll be like a startup which will become a $1 trillion company rather than these large big tech firms. Now your RP1, your Raspberry Pi Zero, this glasses that you kind of build completely on your own, and at home, and you have completely designed, the lenses and everything from scratch. Would be great if you could share your journey, inspiration. What was that thing that kind of inspired you to go and think like, oh, even I can kind of build an AR glass on my own? Because, when you building hardware, it's a very, very challenging affair, because in 2016, we had built out our own virtual reality rig. That's when Facebook and Google were building their VR camera, using Google was building the Halo, Facebook had the VR camera. We also had kind of built out our own 16 camera VR rig, but we realized that, that effort was so challenging, and it was not so meant for a startup at all, because, it takes so much of money. There's so much of challenges. So talk about that journey, your journey, your inspiration, and some of the key technical specifications of your AR glass prototype.
Why I started this? In Too Realistic, which I worked with for 2 years, I've laid my hands on a couple of prototypes and on a couple of different VR device and AR devices over time. Before the HTC XR Elite came out, we've been building experience for it, and we've been building hand in hand with VR engineers. I don't know if you know them, but they got a headset called XTAL.
Yep.
So we've been partners. Like building a showcase in Unreal Engine. And I always looked at the devices, and there was always one thing I didn't like about it. I felt like every headset that came out always had that one thing. It was something different every time. Like, XTAL is really big and heavy. I didn't like that. Like the HTC XR Elite, I liked the form factor, but I didn't like the software. And I always felt like there's weird decisions, and I would make different kind of decisions. It all came towards a point where I got a device maybe 2 months ago or something like that, called Lenovo A3, I think it is. And it's a AR headset. It's it looks like glasses, and it's a little bit similar to what Xreal and other brands of AR glasses do, where it's got the two projectors at the top, pointing down and reflecting into your eyes. If you look at if you take the glasses on, it kind of looks like glasses, but the glasses are really offset to the front, and it's kind of heavy on your nose. And
absolutely, yeah, I've tried like a lot of them, and they're definitely very heavy.
Yeah, if I imagine the thing looking like glasses wearing out, you do this, and it falls from your head because it's kind of heavy up here, and there's a lot of optics and glass and stuff. And so I had to work with this thing, and I actually built face recognition software for it. When it shows squares around people's faces and recognizes if they are dangerous or something, it was for some security use case. But I really didn't like those glasses, and I was like, maybe I can build a better ones. Maybe I actually can do something like this, but to eliminate the downsides that I didn't like, because they looked stupid and they were heavy and the software was not so good. And you had to wire it into a phone, with USB-C, and I didn't like that you had to have a wire. So I was like, I'm gonna build my own. Yeah. And the journey was quite brutal sometimes.
So if I may ask, the glasses as it is that you're building, what would you say it is? Is it a heads-up display? Is it a 3-DOF glass? Is it a 6-DOF glass? And if you could, at the same time, for our viewers, explain us the difference between these different kind of AR glasses, or is it a VR glass? We would love to learn that.
Yeah. So basically, like the most common type of device you see is a VR device, like Quest 2, Quest 3 recently, Quest 3S that got out.
Yeah.
And there was the HTC Vive before that, and it all started with really Oculus Rift. But those are devices that you put on your head and you see a display and you feel like you're in a different reality. And with the latest generation, with Quest 3 and with the Apple Vision Pro, you got cameras on the outside, so you can see outside from the headset, but it's big and it's heavy and you see through screens, so there's a little bit of latency and stuff. So that's VR devices. Then AR device is really a screen you really see through. There's been cool advances lately with waveguide optics and all kinds of fancy technology, like the Meta Orion with the fancy technology, but it's too expensive to manufacture right now. It would cost thousands of dollars. So my device is focused on being cheap, and I've been able to actually build it at home, and it works.
Miroslav, I think, what you've done is very, very interesting because, there are these, because, like I said earlier, when you're trying to build a AR, VR device, and that's largely meant for these really big companies, because there are lots of challenges, of building these glasses, and you need to have like lots and lots of fun, because those funds goes in trying to figure out the display resolution, the field of view, the suite of sensors, the batteries, and so on and so forth. Now you have done something, as you said, very, very cheap. Maybe like how did you go about doing that? I mean, what the components that you used for the glasses? They were sourced from China. What were the parts that were 3D printed? And while doing this, what was the to get into making your own AR glasses? It's like all done at home. What were the lessons that you had gone through? Because you spoke about various glasses like Xtal, A3, Quest. How many glasses you had to back engineer, break them up and put them back, back engineer to kind of understand, okay, now this is what I will build. This is what I think the future of computing is going to be. So yeah, it would be great if you could talk about that.
Why are good AR glasses expensive and hard to manufacture? They use most of the most modern cool devices, which are expensive, use waveguide technology, which is a way of projecting the image from the glass itself, from a projector that's on the side. But my approach, how to do something similar but way more cheaply, is I'll show you. All right, so
and Brilliant Labs have done something pretty much like that.
Yeah, Brilliant Labs. What they've got is a head-up display, and my vision was really floating windows around you and being able to interact with UI. So I needed something little bit better than
are you
just
saying
the
it's
heads-up.
3
It's 3 degrees of freedom right now. Yeah, it just uses an accelerometer or gyroscope. But if you look inside, there are just 2 pieces of glass, and those pieces of glass just reflect what is to the sides. And because it's really close to your eye, it's like 2 centimeters from your eye. The display is here. You would not really. It would be blurred, because you're focusing in a distance. You're focusing like 10 meters in the distance, and when the display is 2 centimeters from your eye, you just see blur. Like when you put a finger like this, you don't see anything. So there has to be optics in between the display and between the glass, between the combinator. So that was the biggest challenge, building the lens really, and learning about optics and how to build optics at home. And some people find this actually insane. Like some people told me it's not possible to.
Is it using a prism like a Google Glass prism?
It's not using a prism. It's just a tilted piece of like acrylic. It's really simple, and that's why I've been able to build it at home, And then there's the projector on the side.
Right.
It's turned off, and that uses just optical resin that you can build, and you can pour it and make lens.
Is it catching the light in front of you, or is it? It
is. There's a display in here, which points that way. and there's a lens
Okay.
in here, and that's the main thing going with these glasses. Normally, what other the Lenovo Think Reality A glasses do, they have the projector up in here and then point down, and then when you have it on your head, it have offset here because it goes here and here.
Yeah, because they would use bird bath lenses.
Ah, yeah. Well, when you get normal glasses, you got like a space in here, a blank space. So I've used the space to put everything in, to the side, and that made the glasses go really on your face, and it's really flat. It's really close, so you get the higher field of view from the glasses. And
like, what are the features now often in AR glasses? Why would somebody want to, buy an AR glasses? Will be great if you could talk about that.
All right. So
how will it help them in their daily life?
The glasses of today are not built for daily life. They are built around experience. When you just sit and you watch a movie or stuff like that. The closest to like really useful glasses they got is the Brilliant Labs and similar heads-up displays, but they are not too advanced and they need to be connected to your phone. What I want to make different is the glasses to replace your smartphone. What I imagine is a world where people don't stare at their screen like this when they walk in the street and when they ride a train, and I would like to have all the information right there when I need it. So that's a key difference. So yeah, I imagine the future where you use this instead of smartphone. That's why it's important. It has its own compute back there, which is capable of advanced processing.
Oh, that's great. Could you share a bit more about what's the kind of resolution and the colors that you're able to achieve as of now?
Yeah, it's a full color display. The resolution is quite it's not good. 128 by 128. Yes, so you can imagine. It's 128 by 128 in like something like iPad-sized screen in front of you. So it's not quite full field of view. It's just the middle, and it's pretty low resolution.
But I'm sure that's enough to give you initial set of information, right? Like, for your daily life, at least a notification, a little bit of text, maybe translation, I think that's the beginning, at least.
Exactly. Yeah, I just didn't have access to better displays because I'm here in the middle of Europe. I'm in Prague, and when I want to order something from China, I wait 2 months to get it. When I want to build fast, I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna order it right from here, and I don't have access to advanced cheap stuff from China fast here, so.
I think that's the same story everywhere, because I think, getting products shipped to your home country, especially from a place like China, it's so very difficult. It becomes more and more easier to kind of import, whatever you want. A startup is sitting in any part of the world, and if they kind of want to kind of tinker around, build a product, whatever components or parts that they're looking for, it should be, I hope it becomes more seamless.
So, that's also an interesting, take on how global supply chain and global, sort of concentrated supply chain affects innovation. People like Miroslav, people are trying to build something. This is also another hurdle where we see why there's, certain delays in innovations coming out of places.
Exactly.
And on the other hand, if you look at prototyping almost anything, if you're sitting down there in China, you could have things built, market ready within 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's Miroslav, you mentioned about replacing smartphones. So I've always imagined a future where we move from carrying technology to wearing technology. We go from, like you said, looking down on a phone, to like the world becoming a screen. And I think that's becoming closer and closer. That future is coming closer and closer. What do you think would be required from your side to kind of, build, go towards that future, like AI integration, having more sensors? What do you think can accelerate that future, and maybe for your glasses also, to build up glasses where we go from carrying technology to wearing technology, where, we don't need a phone, we don't need a computer, the glasses that you're wearing at this point in time becomes a screen and everything, so it will be great if you could talk about that.
Yeah, I think a really important thing that many companies don't understand is it needs to be self-contained. If it needs to replace your phone, it needs you to not have your phone on yourself, and even the solutions that exist that are wireless, they use Bluetooth and stuff. So I think it really needs to be self-contained. It needs to have data connectivity. That's important thing. So right now I'm connecting those glasses through Wi-Fi to the internet, but in the future I want to build in a GSM module to be able to connect anywhere in the world, Another thing I think is important is GPS for location. So the glasses understand where are you in the world. Cameras are really important because the glasses can understand the context. Where are you and what are you doing? And you can ask questions and get more personalized results. And you can do many kinds of pretty cool thing with cameras. You can do hand tracking and you can do world tracking and you can log the content in space with some kind of tracking technology like SLAM or maybe some AI technologies.
No, absolutely. So what are you using right now to control the device? I mean, what are the kind of controllers that you're having?
It just has a Raspberry Pi Zero in the back. That's just what I had lying around at home. I would use the Raspberry Pi Zero 2. It's more performant. And there's been great software support. There's those displays are not HDMI. Those are SPI. Those need a specific driver on the device. So when I want to render a web page, I cannot easily do that with just like drawing into SPI screen. What I had to do is use a tool, which I found on GitHub, which can copy the content of the desktop that's running on the Raspberry Pi and copy it into the screen at 60 frames per second, with full color and everything. So it behaves like it has two HDMI displays. So I can actually, if I want it, I can get a Bluetooth keyboard, and show a terminal, and I can build apps for the device on the device, and I don't need anything else.
So right now you're saying you essentially it runs sort of on a Windows or a Linux system, which you use a mouse and a keyboard to control, right?
No. I don't use mouse and keyboard. You can do that, but I've built my own kind of software stack. I want those glasses. I actually want to make a product in the future. So I've been thinking about how developers could build apps for those glasses and how to make it easy, how to make it the easiest possible. And what I come to is just web development. There's so many web developers. There's so much, so many React jobs out there on LinkedIn. Web is the biggest platform, And to build for web, it's super easy. You write index.html and you write some styling and some JavaScript and you get an app. So I've built a layer into those glasses that renders web pages. And that places those web pages in the space with the 3 degrees of freedom tracking. So you can just build a normal website, use it as app, and when you point your head to a button, for example, the button gets clicked, and you can orient through the pages like that.
Right. So Miroslav, what's the future roadmap? Here you are, you built a prototype which is at home, very cheap. What's your plan? What's your roadmap ahead? I mean, are you looking at trying to make this consumer focused, consumer ready?
Miroslav?
I would love to have a product. I would really love to get this into hands of people, because there's been such a response. I didn't expect that. You know, so many people wrote me they want to try this, and even when you look at Twitter, you know, there's people talking about it. There's been brands liking this, you know, Raspberry Foundation, Xreal, and others, and there's been some retweets from famous people in XR space. So I think I really want to build a device in the future. I have been talking to some people, and what I right now need is funding. So I've been thinking about that. I was thinking on different kinds of funding, basically crowdfunding mostly. I could either make some DIY kits so people can buy them and assemble them at home and build apps for them, for the people, for DIY community, you know, and get those funds to fund the next generation of this device, which has all the GPS, it has cameras, it has advanced AI, it has data connectivity, you know. Bring this to consumers in one way or another.
The tweet that you shared has created a mini tweet storm of sorts, you know, because, you know, that's when I kind of like figured out, oh, there's this guy who's building out AR glasses on his own. And, you know, so that's so very awesome. Wish you the very best. Last question would be, would love you to kind of, you know, share your thoughts on the future of immersive tech, you know, the future of AR, VR, MR. How do you see it evolving in the next 10 years, you know, and where do you see the most value of, you know, of augmented reality, virtual reality, or mixed reality?
I think the categories of AR, VR, XR devices are coming to merge together. I think in the future there's gonna be just one tier of device that really combines the aspects of all of them. Right now we have the heavy big VR headsets, and we have the light and small AR headsets or heads-up displays. You know, I think the device of the future is something like Meta shown us with the Meta Orion prototype, which is still a few years, a glimpse into few years into the future. So yeah, I think in the future that we are gonna, all of us are just gonna wear AR glasses and see holograms, and I think it really is the future of on-the-go computing, replacing smartphones in 10 years or however long it takes.
So Miroslav,
yeah,
I really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. You know, I hope that, you know, your effort touches to you know, more people. I mean, you know, you find your investors, because I think the world needs to see more diverse products, you know, rather than just the big tech companies, you know, building these products out. And I personally believe that the future of like, I think the conversation we started from the beginning, you know, like the big tech versus startups, you know, I think the startups having more power. And I hope that, you know, I mean, the future is built by the startups, and the future is built by maybe like, you know, just like a 3-member, 10-member startup, you know, working remotely and building out products, you know. And I hope that somebody creates these glasses, which is maybe at a cheaper cost than what's available, giving you more features. You know, you spoke about glasses which could converge, you know, I mean, which will have AR, VR, MR, and will also have your phone and your computer. You won't need a computer. You won't need a phone, and you won't go looking for like an augmented reality glasses separate, or virtual reality glasses separate, or mixed reality. Eventually, I see that these glasses are converging. And I also believe that even in the near future, maybe like 20 years down the line, the glasses itself might be free, because, and how the companies would make money would be out of the data, because I think the data is becoming more powerful, because today the tech which is kind of disrupting the world is artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence needs data to kind of evolve, you know, and to become generally intelligent.
You know, now that you mentioned that, you know, though it sounds like a very exciting world, it's also a very scary world at the same time. And that's exactly why we need more people like Miroslav, because, you know, though absolutely believe that the next generation of personal computing is going to be on the head. It might take 5, 10, or maybe 15 years, but it is definitely going to the head. And that's how we evolve. That's how personal computing's involved from, biggest desktops to mainframe computers, laptops to mobile phones. Smartphones are now our, primary personal computers. So it's moving to the head, no doubt. But, you talk about the big guys and the small guys, right? If we only let the big guys be the only one who build out this space and build out this future that we're going towards, that's going to be a big trouble for us as well, especially because of exactly the thing that you mentioned, how they're going to operate with data, the privacy and everything. And that's why we need smaller guys innovating just like Miroslav to come up with new products, new ecosystems, essentially. Wouldn't you agree, Miroslav?
Yes, I absolutely agree with everything you said. And I'm glad you believe in this future with me and believe in my product as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Miroslav, for taking time and being part of the podcast. For the people who don't know much about Miroslav, I think you guys should check out his Twitter page, which is MI_KOTALIK, where he has created a complete thread and given out details of how he's building out this Zero AR glasses, completely homemade. The thread says about everything that he has done right from scratch, which is pretty much awesome and completely commendable. So more power to you, Miroslav. So thank you once again for taking time and being part of the podcast. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. Until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.